Hi everybody, it's Julia here and I am back with a new book journal page. This time it's actually not a book, it's a short story, but it's one of my favorite. So this one is The Blue Geranium in English, written by Agatha Christie. It's a Miss Marple short story and it's really great. So this short story is, someone is chewing at the carpet. It's written in the way where Miss Marple and some of her friends, they're sitting down and they are telling stories, and they are telling the Colonel Bantry. He's telling this story of a woman. She died out of fright because a flower in her wallpaper changed color, the blue geranium. And Miss Marple, she solves it because she is the best. So I thought I was going to do a sort of wallpaper flower inspiration. In the book, it's described as completely mad. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go mad. I'm going to mix all the papers I have. So So if you're interested in this, there is an adaptation with Julia Mackenzie playing Miss Marple. And if you're really interested in a bit of a Agatha Christie nerd like I am, there's actually a podcast episode if you listen to All About Agatha. I think it is, oh, it doesn't have a name. It is published the 2nd of December 2017. And that is Catherine and Kemper. They go through all the novels and I think pretty much all of the short stories too, reading, and then they rank the actual novels then, and it's really, really great. My family think like I've gone like, yeah, and when I start to talk about this and like get into like specific stuff, they're like, you need to lose it. We don't know. I think it's really, really fun. I'm actually listening to the Poirot and Me by David Chusset on Audible. He's narrating his book and it's amazing. I'm listening to it for I think the second time. It is just, yeah. And then when I'm like starting talking to the others and they're like, Julia, just lose it. And I'm like, ugh. Anyway. So here I get a bit of, I can play all my Agatha Christie fantasies, illustrating the books. They're really fun. I have done quite a lot of them in this little book and in my previous one too. So back to the short story. Well, I'm not going to talk about it very much because I mean it's a very short story. In Sweden they published 4 of them in like tiny little books. I showed it in the beginning. So one short story is in one of these books and there are 4 of them. So 2 of them are Miss Marple. Then there's one Poirot, and then I think it's one with Tuppy and Tom, and they are great. They are really, really good, and they are translated. And I don't really like that, but you know they're really pretty books. So, but it's a good translation. It's not that, so it's fine. So I read that and what's really great with them is that you feel like you're reading a book because you're holding a book, but then you're finished in like half an hour. So, well, an hour for me. So yeah. So like I said, this is the story of the Blue Geranium. It is a story of a woman. She is bedridden, really. She lays to bed and she can't do anything because she is so very sick, at least she thinks so. And then she has this friend who made the wallpaper for her so she would miss the garden in the summer. And there are all the flowers, and it's described really well in the book or a short story. And it's really, they say like it's complete madness because all of these flowers blooming at the same time makes no sense. And I thought, well, I'm going to make it really crazy here. Like, I'm going to make one pattern paper in the background and then in the foreground, and they're not going to match, and everything is just going completely bonkers. So that's why it looks like it does. And then I stamped some images to color them in and then making one of the flowers blue. So the whole thing is that it's believed that she died because of this flower turning blue. In the story, it's described that she's talking to these like fortune tellers, and that one of them is telling her that if her flowers begin turning blue, she will die, really. And during like 3 months, at the full moon, each of these flowers starts turning blue, and at the 3rd one, the blue geranium turns blue, and that's when she is supposed to be dead or die. And sure enough, the day after, she is dead. So they think like, well, she obviously died out of fright. And Miss Marple, she's like, no, not really. So these friends, they're sitting around the dining table at the pantries and they are discussing this. And Miss Marple obviously she just knows because she's the best. So yeah, I really like the adaptation. They add quite a lot to it because it's a very, very short story and it's not that much to it. So they added quite a lot of side plots and more characters, and I really like both of them. I mean, it's an adaptation; they need to adapt it really. So I think it's really fun. And what I really like is when these when you read it in one place, that's the original, and then you have the adaptation in the movie. You had the adaptation in my adaptation here on the page, and then if you're really nerdy, you can go and listen to the podcast. So yeah. I think it's really fun. So yeah, I suppose I might do this a bit more with the other short stories because I just really like making these um, illustrating what I've been reading in. I mean, it's really fun to paint and do illustration like that, but it's really fun to do it in this more abstract way with just shapes and paper and stamps. It's really fun. I think it's really fun, and I love painting. So, so yeah. When you read books, I mean, do you document that in any way? I mean, I have a journal where I write like I start on this date and I finished on and I thought about it like this. But then I have this one where it's really fun in keeping track of the books like visually. I would be really interested in if any of you do something similar, or do you write something about it, or do you photograph them, or like do you document the books that you read and what you think of them? Yeah, I think it's really fun, but then I'm a bit of a nerd too, so I don't know. I mean, if you do that, please let me know, or if you don't, let me know anyway. If you read, what you do after you have read the book or listening to. I'm thinking about maybe doing this for the books I've listened to too, about like the David Jose book, or I have been listening to a few of the MC Beaton books. It's murder there too, yeah, I know. So yeah, anyway, that is the finished page. I really like the book and making this page. I hope you have liked this video, and I hope to see you soon.